hello. Welcome to Girls Run These Worlds and episode 4, session 4 of Mausritter. We are playing Mice in the Herb Garden, which is a Mausritter campaign. Mausritter is a game by Isaac Williams, which you can find online, pay what you want on Itch.io, or you can get the physical copy, which I always like to show off because it's so pretty. We are going to be... I'll get everyone to introduce themselves, but first of all, I should probably say who I am. My name is Philippa Mort. I use she, her pronouns, and a few little content warnings for you just before we get started. Mice in the Herb Garden will include themes such as we may have some character death if our characters are unlucky. We may have some mention of insects, magic, combat, peril and disaster. So keep that in mind if you want to continue watching. With that, I'm going to ask my cast to introduce themselves as usual, and then we'll give a quick recap. So I'm going to go on my screen. So Taylor, get us started. Who are you and who are you playing?
Hi, my name's Taylor. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm playing Apple Fritter, who also uses she, her pronouns. Apple Fritter is a little blacksmith mouse.
Okay, next up, Ella.
Hello, I'm Ella Watts. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm playing Tabitha Thistle, who also uses she, her pronouns and is a cider brewer.
Excellent. Angela.
Hello there, lovelies. My name is Angela Lemos-Moreja. I use she, her pronouns, and I'll be playing Susie Fayhart, who also uses she, her pronouns and is a mildly feral librarian.
Excellent. And Rue.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rue. My pronouns are she, her, and I play Elchi Morrow, whose pronouns are she, they, and they are a troubadour.
Okay, let me get my notes. So, quick little recap of some of the exciting things that happened last time. So, you managed to get out of, well, you were still in trouble, but you were in less trouble with the observatory mice, and managed to get Purcell to confess that he did in fact already know about the potion that you had shown him, because he was actually being asked, maybe told, to investigate it by Merida the fox, who is a witch. You went down into the catacombs beneath the log because there was a secret tunnel over to Merida's den. However, as you were going, you decided to investigate some of the little statues along the way, which was how Elchi managed to find herself attached to a cursed sword, which she cannot get rid of until they face, get forgiveness from a mortal enemy, I believe was the terms there. But you did also find a nice little magic spell tablet which can do the catnip spell, so that's good. You made your way over to Merida's den, where you confronted her very bravely, and Susie sort of went with honesty as the best policy and got her to stop threatening to eat you, at least for the time being. And we ended with you signing a contract with Merida that she wouldn't eat you, and that you would both quite like to find out the source of this potion and ideally get it to stop. And but a little bit of extra on her side, which is that she thinks the source is possibly in the human witch's cottage, and therefore she's a bit too large to get in there and needs your help to get in to be able to find out what it is in the first place, which technically you all want, but perhaps for some different reasons. So we shall start back up really close to where we left off. Obviously, Ella's back, hooray. So Tabitha has been with us. Azealia has also been joining along, and so you're all together again. And you had travelled there in the morning. So Merida offers to give you all a ride on her back, which I think none of you has ever experienced before, a ride on a fox's back. But she kneels down and tells you to hold on very tight, and yeah, offers that to take you all to the witch's cottage, which I'll show on the map, our area map, so you can see it. You know, for mice this would be a very long journey, but for a fox it's going to take probably just one watch, so it would take you to the afternoon. Do you all clamber on? Anything that you particularly want to do?
I think just as we're traveling, Tabitha is gonna kind of gently kind of tap the back of Azalea's head and say, how many torches exactly have you used up now? Because I know, Philippa, you were keeping track, but I need to keep track and I don't know.
She has used up 2 uses of her torch.
Okay, so she's got 1 left.
Yeah. Daytime. So not too urgent.
I said that you should bear the torch for us, but I didn't say that you should waste light. We're going to need that, especially if we're going to go see a witch.
I'm sorry, they all got wet when we went to swim. I wasn't expecting to swim. This is all happening as, I think, this isn't like Cat Bus in Ghibli where it's a lovely smooth ride. This is like, oh my goodness, holding on as tight as you can as this fox goes across the countryside, leaps over the river, over the stepping stones that would take you, half a day to ford, and scampers around the fields and things. So this is like as faster than you've ever been before. Side note, when they first invented trains, people thought it was so fast that they started like fainting out of shock. And this is kind of the experience you're getting here, is it's like, I don't know where to look. I don't know what's happening. The world is going much faster than I'm used to. So Azealia is like leaning back to talk to you like, okay, I'll try not to get the wet again.
I'm imagining like a full-on like somewhere between a roller coaster and aerobatics. Like Ella once in real life was on a racing camel, and I'm imagining like that experience of like massive speed but also very bumpy and not really designed for you to be on the back of and kind of like and so I'm imagining that like the reason that Tabitha is sort of telling off Azalea in this moment of all moments is because she's quite shaken, but she doesn't want that to be obvious, so she's just turning it into like yelling. But there's a moment where like you said that we jump across the stepping stone, and I'm imagining that all of us kind of momentarily leave Merida's back before like coming back down again, like as the kind of 0G hits us.
Absolutely, yeah. So yeah, you kind of I'll do a little thing on the map. You go over here, you go over. You see what the observatory mice called that field with the great woolen ones, the sheep field, has a little, you can see there's like dry stone wall, and she comes around here past, you see this huge old oak with tangled vines leading up the trunk, and you see a lot of birds looking down from above, various different species of birds, but she carries on and slinks into the front garden. This has still taken a while, like this is much faster than any of you could travel, but it's still probably taken a fair bit of time for her to kind of make her way over. So we'll say we're in the afternoon in terms of watches and things, so that's kind of a safe time of day for you, so you don't need to worry about me rolling encounters basically. And slowly comes to a halt after an extremely bumpy ride, and comes and sort of wiggles under there's a sort of a wooden fence, and wiggles under it to put you in front of the house. And I'm going to move us over to the house map. I'm just going to check is ready. Yes, okay. Okay, and you're in the front garden. And Merida sits back out of breath for a moment.
I think Apple, when writing on the back of Merida, I was picturing like a Never-Ending Story when they're writing the Luck Dragon, where they're just basically like laying down and just like
absolutely.
So like Apple's almost underneath the fur completely, and so when we come to a stop, like is kind of like sneezing a little bit from having like fur,
little fur
like,
in nose,
nose and things. So slides off, kind of like dusts herself off and says, Tabitha, if you'd like, I have a whole pack of torches that I haven't even used.
Oh, well, thank you. Apple, I've always thought of you as incredibly kind. And I think like if we're getting down off the off Merida, then if it's okay with you, Taylor, I think it's cute if Tabitha, because she's quite strong, like kind of helps like pick you up down off the she has this like moment of like holding your little mouse body and just like
That's really cute. Yeah, so I like start to slide down, but like fox hair is like kind of slick and like I'm sure like a little bit greasy too because most like animal hair is. So I'm like trying to get down and just start to slide, and so you like kind of help me down. And I'll dig around in my pack and like pull out like this little bundle of torches. I imagine it's like wrapped in beeswax or something, like beeswax, like, you know, lined cloth or something to keep it dry, and kind of hold it up and say, do you want me to keep these for now or give them to Azalea, or do you want them?
Well, I think Azalea, well, let's say if it's all right with you, we'll keep him for now, but then Azalea, if you run out once you've used that last use on that torch you have, maybe you'll take Apple's torches just so that you can sort of keep your hands free to focus on lighting our way, if that's all right, please.
Sure. And yeah, swaps out. And I'll let you keep track of her stuff again if you would like. Yes, okay.
What I've got with her is that at the moment I've got her carrying the barrel of cider and a water skin that Susie got for her, as well as the torches. So I think that she's got one body slot left. But for now I'll just I think probably wait until we've used up the first set of torches.
And then whenever we need more.
Yeah, cool. So the front garden and the front of the house. So this is a little classic English cottage, whitewashed walls, little thatched roof, big recessed windows with little flower boxes, and a little front porch with steps to you quite big stone steps leading up to a big red wooden front door, painted bright red. There's a little letterbox gleaming, and a little door knocker, all nicely brightly polished in gold gilding and so on. And there's a few little bushes around. There's a rose bush at the other end of the garden, and some other little bushes and things as well, and some paving slabs as well, which match the ones in the back garden. So some of you may have been around here, although obviously normally this is the side where those great metal contraptions the humans move around and sometimes go past, so you might not want to go too near their vast expanse of concrete, aka the road. But yeah, you know that on the other side of this is obviously the back garden where you're used to. And you can see the windows are, again, like quite old English cottage style, where they haven't been updated, so they've got quite thin frame, single glass, and they've got those inside you would be able to see, rather than like the sort of handle ones that you have to get. They've got the little oh gosh, I don't know what it's called, but the little levers that you can like slowly open them a little bit or not, so they don't look particularly like latches. Exactly, that's it. So they're not very like tightly shut, basically, in that style.
Maybe a good entry point is what you're saying.
So yeah, Merida sort of turns to you and says, yes, I've got you here now, but obviously, as I say, I'm far too large to get inside myself, but if we stick with the plan, I think we could find a way for all of you to get inside.
Go ahead. I was just thinking out loud, so go ahead.
I mean, I think that Tabitha probably looks at Elchie and is like, Elchie, two things. First of all, are you ever going to put that sword down?
Elchie just like kind of extends their arm out and just like waves it around, and like the sword is just completely there,
like poison flinging off of
it. Whoops. Touch it.
On the one hand, I imagine that's going to make playing a musical instrument difficult. On the other hand, incredibly interesting act if you could play a banjo whilst wielding a sword.
That's true.
Elgie's just like, it's just a new musical challenge for me. Nothing Elchimaro can't handle. Also, if you like look back at Merida, wherever Elchie was, like hers, because she was trying to hold on with the sword arm too, like some of the fur was like cut just a little bit.
Yeah. Just a little patch. Yeah.
Because it was just like her arm going back and forth like a little bit and slowly like shaving it off.
Like a lawnmower. Basically.
Yeah. Elchie still hasn't quite gotten a handle of like not fully having the utility of one arm, so they're still kind of trying to use both because that's what they're used to. So they're also a little off balance right now with this extra weight on the arm.
All right. Well, I realize that your dexterity might be limited, but I hope you know that I'm saying this with nothing but the utmost respect, admiration, fondness, and general affection. You do strike me as the sort of person who would perhaps be best placed to sneak into someone else's house. So do you have any thoughts on how we should do this?
LG just kind of like immediately starts like looking at that front door. It's just like well, I mean, there's a door to go in, so that feels like the correct path, but I know I am slowly learning to be a little more careful, so maybe not the front door as a first choice, but I think it's a good backup option. So I think we should keep it in our back pocket as the second choice. But what about trying to get up through those windows, maybe? It seems like, I don't know, the witch doesn't really go towards the windows that often, I think. Elchie has never really seen the witch doing anything, so they're just making stuff up.
If you say that, Merida sort of inclines her head again and says, I know I will not be able to get inside, but I could lift you up high enough, perhaps you'll be able to reach the window ledge.
Oh, fantastic. I was going to ask about that because I was thinking, I mean, I don't know how much of a climber the rest of you are. Susie, I imagine you're pretty good climbing because I imagine you must climb some bookshelves occasionally.
I am blessed with the grace of an average mouse and the strength of an even more mediocre mouse.
Susie, your optimism never fails to inspire me.
I do have a possible suggestion, though perhaps we should treat this as one which may it may escalate things quite quickly, and it would require a certain level of danger on our parts.
Could go on.
Well, we have this, and holds up the spell tablet for catnip. Could we try and get a cat to break the window?
I mean, perhaps it doesn't have to break it. I think, Merida, yes, if you could give us a lift, that would help a lot, because, I mean, that's an awfully tall wall for a mouse. But then after that, yes, I think, Susie, you're absolutely right. It's a genius idea, and we should use it. But perhaps we could get the cat to... Oh, I mean, it's very scary even talking about trying to bargain with a cat. But I mean, we could try and convince it to like open the latch. Like, cats are good at sort of lifting stuff and that. If it really wanted the catnip, we could put the catnip there and try and like tempt it into like, I don't know. I'm just worried if we break the glass, then we're going to put ourselves in the way of a lot of broken glass, which...
What we could do is we could get in there. We'll be able to see, hopefully, where the cat is through the window once we get up. And we could get in, and then maybe we could put the spell, we could throw it out the window, not through the window, but out the window. And then maybe the cat would go out, and then we could close the windows, and then we'd be inside, and the cat would be outside, and we could do whatever we want.
Oh, I like that idea.
Merida does pipe up at this moment and reminds you that she would rather not meet with the cat, so she would need to leave.
Yeah, we would wait. So we'd go in. You could
very good. Yes,
you could run away. We could throw the rock out the window, and the cat would come out. Is there a cat door? I guess I should ask that.
You know there is a cat flap in the back door,
so we'd have to block that off too. But not impossible.
Could try and paint it shut. I mean, I've got paint. I don't really know if that would... It's glow in the dark paint, but it's still paint.
Yes, the landlord special. We could just paint it shut.
You can, I will just say, out of character, you can go round to the back door as well if you want.
Yeah, but we don't want to go through the cat flap at the same time that the cat is coming out.
No. But just to say, like, you realise
coming...
that would be another option as well. And you'd be allowed, you can get around to the back from where you are if you would like.
I think
Merida sort of like snarls a little and is like, well, do you want to go up or not? I'm waiting. And she's crouched down.
Let's go up. We'll know more when we can see through the window anyway.
And she sort of pauses to look at Elchie and is like, and please be careful with that sword. And stands up and you go, and she's just tall enough that you can kind of, grab onto the ledge and pull yourself over with a bit of effort. Azelia's struggling a little with her backpack.
Tabitha rolls her eyes, but like grabs Azelia's arm and like hoists her up.
And which you can see there's 2 window boxes. Which one do you want to climb up on? Left or right? It'll just alter a little bit what view you can see.
I was imagining left, but I have no reason for that.
Sure. Okay, so you pop on left and I'll show you a bit of what you see if you look through these windows. See all of this. About to here. So looking in, you can see what looks to be, well, it's very strange to you as mice, of course, because this is a human's house. But it's, to us humans, it's a living room, it's a front room. And you can see that there's some curtains that have been drawn aside on the opposite side of the window, and there's like a bookshelf, and quite kind of covering some of your view is a coat rack with a sort of a robe and a witch's hat. And then on the other side of the room is a big desk covered in papers and books and little crystals and inkwells, and there's a fan on there and just bits of paper and everything. But the big thing you notice is the floor is covered, partially covered in more of that potion, which is seeping, you can see from an open doorway to the left. And you can see that it's kind of spread out across the hardwood floor in various splotches. Oh, and sorry, the final thing is from your position, I think you can see there is also a window on the opposite side towards the back of the house as well, like a big bay window with little cushions in the seating section as well, like a little book nook.
I'm gonna look down, like kind of frowning at the potion everywhere, and then look at the others and be like, when I was a little mouse, I used to play a game where we couldn't touch the floor because we would say that the floor is lava, and I feel like I'm getting a bit of deja vu here because I got a feeling that we can't touch the floor, which is going to be a problem.
As you're saying that, Tabitha, you do look up a little bit as well, and you do see there are various things on the walls, like little picture frames and some fairy lights and tapestries and various bits and bobs as well.
Mouse obstacle course! Oh my god!
Flop is lava. Flop is lava.
I'm tired. We're all gonna scamper across the top of picture frame.
Very good. We don't see the cat. I'm assuming you would have told
No,
us
you do
if
not
we
see a cat.
At least not in this angle.
No,
yeah.
Not at this angle, no.
Oh god. Well, okay, gonna start trying to work on the window, I guess. I want to see if I can try and like wedge my sword through the kind of like little, the bottom of the wood to see if we can start trying to maneuver the latch.
Sure. Yeah, I think you can do that. It takes a little bit of time, but you wedge open the window and kind of push it open to like, how old windows don't always close properly. So yeah, a little bit of a push is just enough room for a mouse to squeeze through. And is it Elchie who's got a round little body, or is it Tabitha who's going to have to go to get
Tabitha is a fat little mouse.
Yeah,
she is fat, but she's strong.
But then you're going to get through.
Elchie does too. So we're both a little bottlenecking a little bit.
Like Winnie the Pooh.
Azalea, come on, push harder.
But you will get through onto the other side, which also has the same like stone window sill as well. So yeah, getting through, you can probably see a little bit more of the room. In fact, I think you can see most of it, apart from there is a door which leads to the porch, you would realize, covering up obviously some of the room. So you can see that the potion doesn't spread across the whole of this room. And in the far corner, there is a fireplace with some picture frames on it, a little bit of like a kindling basket and a little armchair as well. And you can also see there are 2 doors leading off to 2 rooms on the left-hand side of the house as well. I think Tabitha does put her paws up to sort of ask you through the window and is like, can you see the cat?
Not currently. Can any of you see it?
They may be out for
seem
now.
Like, yeah. I guess be careful outside because maybe it's prowling around outside.
There's, for clarification, there's another room that we can't see, right?
Yeah,
that's
so
on, like, the left-hand side.
There's a left-hand room you can't see where the potion seems to be coming from, and then there's 2 rooms on the right.
Okay, so there's multiple rooms we can't see. All right. Oh yeah. If I just scrolled over, I would see all this other empty space. Yeah, I think Apple conveys that to Merida and says like, oh, there's like a couple other rooms.
Okay.
Why are you so... Beg your pardon, Merida, but you're a very large fox, and foxes are typically bigger than cats, and I don't understand why you're so nervous about being seen by this cat.
I'm not nervous per se, just me and the cat don't always see eye to eye, so it would probably be best if we didn't run into each other. So
is this like some kind of romantic entanglement? I once heard about a badger and a mole.
I was just about to ask about that if they were an ex. It's perfectly acceptable to not have a good relationship with an
nothing
ex-partner.
like that. No, just a clash of ideas of how things ought to be done, So
remarkably,
yes.
Ideological differences can also be resolved often through open communication and discussion as well, if it's simply a matter of that.
Yes. Well, Susie, I've already agreed not to eat you, so let's not get into trying to change my entire worldview. I'm going to go and investigate the sewers, which I told you I would do. In exchange, please get me some of that potion if you can work out an unadulterated source of it, or work out what it is that's changing it to make it be so strange. But yes, I do not wish to talk to the cat. Thank you, and that's all I will say on the matter.
Apple
definitely
100% thinks they're exes. Apple, yeah. Like, that sounds like something with an X.
She is like, this is the classic lovers to enemies. I've read plenty of stories like this.
But yes, she's like, oh, anyway, I will see you later. Get that potion. Runs away.
I love her so much.
Susie, you know how sometimes we talk about how people sort of communicate in strange ways and do strange things to avoid just saying the obvious and just communicating clearly. And I do feel like hiring a group of mice to break into the house of a human is like quite that's a lot of steps to avoid talking to one person.
The cat thing makes me think this isn't what it is, but is something that I was thinking about that I'd like to share with all of you now that Merida's gone. Is Merida the witch the same witch that lives here? Because it doesn't exactly make sense, especially because she doesn't want to see the cat, and I feel like that's probably not what it is, but like, maybe Merida, I don't know, she loves human stuff, and the potion does transform people. I didn't want to say anything when she was around because she would probably eat me, but I just am wondering if that's what is happening here, and that's why she wants to get in, and maybe she did make the potion and she wants to know what she did wrong with it. It doesn't really change what we're doing, but I just thought I would share my thoughts.
No, well, consider, Susie, I don't know. I've never heard of a mousy magic having an effect on a person. I thought that mousy magic was sort of different to person magic. But what if there was some kind of disagreement between the human witch and her cat, and Merida doesn't want to see her cat because maybe he wanted her, he wanted the potion to go wrong or something.
Her into a fox.
Yeah. Like, what if it was sort of an animal magic versus a human magic kind of thing?
Cats are powerful, so if anyone could do that to a person, I think it would be a cat.
Susie, do you know if animal magic can affect humans? Oh, sorry.
Yep. I think LG was just like, what if the cat is also another human turned into a cat?
What if the human witch turned the cat into a cat and he wants to be free?
And then in revenge, so the witch was making a potion, and then the cat was like up on the windowsill or something and just knocked something off the shelf into the potion and made the potion go wrong, and pff, the witch turned into a fox, and then I don't know why she would run away and leave. And the timeline doesn't exactly make sense because this would have had to happen a long time ago, and we saw the witch not that long ago. So there's still some confusion, and I don't think it completely makes sense, but...
Angela?
I have a confession to make. I was not always a mouse. I was a raven at one point. I also have a second confession to make. That was the first confession was a lie.
Angela.
Fucking had me.
Seriously. Like, I think Tabitha doesn't know how to, like, Tabitha wouldn't, like, she'll occasionally kind of tap Azalea on the back of the head. She wouldn't do that to Susie, so I think instead she just tickles Susie. She's like, Susie, why would you say that?
Because I don't want to be the one to ruin us. I do believe investigating threads of thought and conversation is always a fruitful endeavor. However, perhaps our timing should be allocated to another occasion when we are not on a windowsill in the vicinity of a potential cat.
Oh, that's an excellent point.
Good point. Also,
I just imagine her just like taking that to try and jump through the windowsill and just doing the like little like stuck into it while making your way through.
They're gonna grab like your full and kind
full
of
Pooh Bear effect is what I'm imagining.
Also, to answer your earlier question, if Susie would know about human and animal magic, the answer is that yes, human magic can affect animals. It doesn't tend to go the other way just because animal magic is so small, but obviously enough of it would work the other way as well. But human magic is just the same type of magic, but just on a lot larger scale. But yeah. So you pull Susie through. And you can see there's a couple of different ways you think you could get down onto the floor if you wanted to get on the floor, or you can, floor is lava it. So you can see the witch's robe goes all the way down to the floor, or there's a string of fairy lights across the wall and some picture frames and things as well.
My vote is to stay high and to investigate the room where the potion is coming from.
Yeah, I think if we can get into it without like touching it, that would be interesting.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Root.
Oh no, you're good. I'm done.
Could we look around to see if there are any things that could assist us with climbing?
Sure.
I'm thinking of the borrowers, like how they use little like hairpins to like climb and like do that.
Sure. Sure. You can take a turn to kind of look around a little bit. Do you stay just on the windowsill, or do you want to look elsewhere as well? So, for example, you can see there's a little bit of dust gathered under the armchair and over by the fire. There's on the other side of the doorway, over, if I can put it, there's like some little cabinets and things.
I was thinking of maybe looking more like in the coat rack, so like in pockets, or even in like hairpins are kind of a thing that people don't really use anymore, but if there were to be like hairpins or hat pins, it would be in the hat. So looking in there to see if she uses something to keep her hat on.
Cool. So I think we'll say this takes a turn to kind of spend some time kind of like carefully maneuvering yourself, climbing up this woolen coat to look in the pockets and things, and you find a packet of bubblegum.
Oh.
Which I will tell you, if you can use in many different ways, but including if you chew it, it will get real sticky.
Helpful. How many slots does it take up?
It takes up 1 slot. It's worth 100 pips if you sold it to the right person. And it has 6 bits of gum and therefore 6 uses.
Oh, nice. Okay. Oops, I'm using the wrong thing. I'm definitely going to take it. And I have exactly 1 slot. So I'll put it in. So so Apple just kind of like takes what Susie said to heart about like, we really need to be getting to work. Apple just kind of starts like, diving into like the pockets and things, and like eventually comes out with some bubble gum and says, I don't know, maybe this could help. And like holds up like the sticky bits of gum if we want to climb on the walls or make sure we're not falling.
I think also you do find some like lint and pocket fluff, including if you wanted to like scrabble around a bit, you could probably pull some thread loose as well, which obviously to a mouse you could act a bit like a rope. That is the other thing you can find.
I don't have any slots to hold something else, but I could give someone else.
Oh well, I could tell Azalea to take the torches from you because she's got 1 slot left.
Okay, yeah. I'll take. So I have a little torch thing that I haven't had any uses on, so it's full fresh torches, and I'll grab the thread as well. And yeah, anybody who wants to get some uses out of it, anyone's free to use it.
Yeah, thread will be 1 slot, 3 uses, but obviously depending on if you cut it or not, you might be able to wind it back in and things. Yeah.
Well, I'll kind of look at the others and seeing that Elchie like is sort of a little disabled by the fact that you've got 1 hand stuck to a sword. I'm gonna look at Susie and say, well, shall we go first?
So how you're gonna try and sort of stick just up the wall? Are you trying to get to?
Well, I'm thinking you said that there were fairy lights, so I was thinking to try and scramble across the fairy lights for a bit.
Sure.
Just try and move forward, I guess.
Yeah. Let me reveal it a bit more. It might make it a bit easier to see. There we go. You can see the little string. Cool. Okay. So if you've got I zoned out a little bit as you was talking about slots. So Apple's got the sticky gum. Are you sharing it out to everyone?
I was going to ask, yeah, does anybody want to have a little stick session? Apple will be, if anyone wants to, Apple will be chewing gum, like passing it out to people to stick to their hands.
Put some on each of our forepaws, like chew a little bit, and then just like have like a fist-sized, a mouse paw-sized amount, like just so that we've all got that little extra stick.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. It has 6 uses. I can't imagine a mouse would use a whole thing on one. So how about let's roll to see how many uses it use up. So Taylor, just roll as a d6.
Cool. 4.
Cool. Okay. So that covers everyone, including Azalea in that case.
So mark 1 usage.
Or
mark
marker
4
usage.
usages.
No,
okay.
Marker usage. I think. Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't tell if you were doing something different or if you
no,
were doing the regular
sorry.
no.
Let's mark it off. I think. Cool. Okay. So yeah, Tabitha and Elchie, you're planning to kind of go first. So yeah, the fairy lights kind of go up and they go over the top of some like little picture frames and over like a little sort of wall hanging and over the door frame and down to where they're kind of plugged in on the other side of the room near the round desk. So with the stickiness, I think this is much less like dangerous than it was, but it's still a little bit tricky. So it takes some time carefully climbing up the lights and resting on the bulbs as you go past. And I'll just mark a turn you'll do that. And yeah, you can kind of get across the top of the the side. Where do you want to go to, basically? So they go over the door frame and they go all the way over to here. So do you want to stop by the door or anything, or keep going?
I wanted to go through the door into the room where the potion is spilling out of, with the caveat that obviously if we are at the top of an open door frame, I would like to look through the door to see if there is a cat in there.
Yes. Okay, so you can look through. Obviously there's part of the door is open, so you can't see the whole way in, but what you can see is there is basically there's like a little metal bin, a recycling bin full of paper and glass and things, and then a broom propped up to the side against a wall to another small room that you can see doesn't extend that far. You'd think, as humans, a utility room. And you can see the floor is mostly covered in this potion still.
Question. This is slightly off topic, but still relevant to our concerns here. If a cat were to get bubblegum in its mouth, would it still be able to bite down on us?
It would certainly struggle.
Okay,
Probably
I'm just going to
wouldn't be
keep
able
that
to.
one in mind as a contingency use for cat escape plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I was also thinking we should have
cat
thrown
either.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, carry on.
No,
No worry.
We should have thrown the catnip tablet outside. We forgot to do it now, and now we've got it with us.
I think that's good, because I don't know how the catnip tablet works exactly, but I don't know if it's out of the cat, if the cat's not in range when we use it. I don't know if that matters. So
let me just check it for you, but I think that's how it. Yeah, I think it's like cats nearby will be excited.
And there's
irresistible lure for cats here is just what it says. So
there's a window out here too, I think. So maybe
we can maybe throw it a different direction.
One thing you've all noticed, I think, is you're shimmying across and carefully climbing over these lights, getting a good view of the room, and actually you can see a little bit, obviously, into the other rooms as well. You don't see like a cat bed or anything, or any cat toys or anything like that.
Elchie's just gonna escalate to a very weird thought of like the humans eating the cat. There's some nonsense going on.
Wait. What if the witch is the cat, and the witch's power is that she can turn into the cat and back into a human again, which is why we keep seeing the witch, because the witch and the cat are the same person, and the fox is like a third party who's like, avoiding her or something, but Merida knows that if the witch saw her in either cat or human form, she would recognize her, so she has to stay away.
A rival ex-girlfriend.
Yes.
I think Apple just thinks the witch is not a good cat owner. She doesn't care for
wow, not a single toy.
Genuine question. Is this like a mouse this is what mice do for their AO3 fan fiction work? Is this what they come up with? Just like very like gay OCs of and histories of cats and that belong
I'm
in
imagining
boxes?
you're all sat like the sort of construction workers on the Empire State Building style on this like string of fairy lights, like talking like, what if they kissed? But as you're asking this, Tabitha, as you say this, you look across the room again, kind of scanning, thinking, realizing this, and you see some picture frames on the mantelpiece, and you see one of them is a sort of graduation photo of the human witch graduating from her magic school, and she sees she has long brown hair with a grey streak in it, and if you'll remember, the cat is a brown cat with a grey ear.
Oh Oh my gosh. Sorry. Also,
Confirmed. Theory confirmed.
yeah.
So, yes, to confirm.
Taylor, you're a genius.
I didn't think the witch
So,
was
yes.
the cat. You thought the witch was the cat.
You thought that the witch was a shapeshifter, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, also, I just have to like footnote that, Angela, what I really like is, you know how people like get really into queer romance shipping in horror films. I do think like the way that the mice deal with a cosmic horror of living next to something so huge that it could eat us at any time is we tell ghost stories and then we're like, we're just gonna make up romances because it's one way to deal with the kind of inevitability of our gruesome deaths.
The inevitability of our short lifespans will be will be spent a portion of it just imagining really gay ships between all of these characters,
The humans and animals.
There's a scholar in Basildon. There's a visiting scholar to Basildon Hall. Is like, let me tell you, my fellow mice, of this term I have now come across. We know it as furry.
Oh no!
So mice would have fleshies then.
Right, no, let's move on. I do not want to know.
Sorry.
No.
Anyway.
Okay, I want to. So, is there a way to get down from these lights onto that little like box thing just behind the wall?
Yeah, so that's like the bin is the first one. That's the bin. There's the recycling bin. Yeah, there's like a calendar on the wall that you could kind of like so go out. What I will say is it will be you're not sure, like you can't see any route, like you can't currently see a route past what you can see, if that makes sense. So you realize if you got down there, it might be a bit hard to get back up. It would be a risk, but you could try it anyway because you do have the sticky paws. So
perhaps we could tie the thread around the fairy lights and then climb down, and then that way we could climb back up if we needed to.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Well, is that all right with you, Apple?
Yeah, I think Apple's like pretty much game for whatever.
I'm gonna tie the thread and then I'm gonna look at Susie. I'm gonna be like, Susie, what I'm thinking is I'm bigger than you, I'm stronger than you, so if I need to, if I stay up here, I can hoist you back up pretty quick, whereas you're nice and nimble. So would you be all right with going down to see if you can have a look, and then I'll stay up here and pull you back if we need to?
The end has tried to come for me multiple times and it has not yet succeeded. And now I have a friend to help me avoid it.
Tammy's gonna hug you.
Susie's just got a come at me attitude with the universe.
I mean, she's
1v1 me.
she's a-
The universe.
I see you, universe. I'm ready to fight no matter what. I may be less than a few inches tall, but it doesn't matter. I have spunk.
Oh, thank you, by the way, for the raid from Alakazam. Thank you very much. We're playing some Mausritter currently. Okay, so you're gonna Mission Impossible style lower Susie onto the bin.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think if you all, especially if Zelia kind of puts weight behind it as well as Tabitha, you can carefully lower Susie down. And Susie, now you can see a little bit more of the kitchen. So standing on this chrome bin, you can probably see that. You can't see around that corner yet, and we'll say you can, I'll be generous and say you can see most of the kitchen. So you can see a big brass cauldron filling up quite a large part of the room. And you can see this is where this potion has been bubbling over, and it's still fizzing a little tiny bit and going very imperceptibly, still fizzing as if it just keeps kind of going. And looking across, you can see there's a cooker, there's a sink full of dishes and dirty dishes and water. There's some cabinets and little countertops, a fridge, and then you can just see, if you kind of lean out on the bin, there's a sort of a cabinet full with the doors partially open, full of herb and spice bottles, one of which has fallen onto the side and spilled out onto the floor and near the potion. That's what you can see. You also see two other things. Towards the sink, you can see what looks to be a very large slug that is sort of a horrible luminous green and is sort of bulging and large, sort of eating some of the food on the plates. And then happily sort of like the potion has like, it's like very foamy, so it's foamed up onto the sides into the sink as well, and the slug is happily like zipping through and like supping on the potion a bit and gets a little bigger each time it does. Having a great time. The other thing you see is some house flies kind of like whizzing around. There's just one house fly, and it's just buzzing around the potion, and it seems to have gotten some of the potion on its body, and it's buzzing confusedly and seemingly annoyed as well. But it's just kind of circling over the potion and the cauldron. Weird. So yeah, that's what you can see.
So the fly isn't bigger
No.
than usual. Okay,
No.
but the slug is bigger than usual.
Yeah. So it seems like maybe
Interesting.
there's some different effects depending on how much you touch it and when.
Because that's also different than the effect we saw from the frog, who seemed confused. And then the other thing we knew is at the observatory they said it burned their skin.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a bunch of different like effects, but it's all from presumably the same potion.
Yeah.
Interesting. For clarification, where are all of us? Are all of us in the room, like here now by this door?
So you've dropped Susie down, so Susie can see this, but the rest of you are still sort of I think on the door frame and on the fairy lights helping lower her. So Susie, you can call back and tell them as much as you want.
Just like pulling the cord, like get me up, please.
I don't want to be here anymore.
You do see the fly sort of like sees you and sort of starts lazily buzzing a little closer.
I'm gonna hoist you up as quickly as I can. Well, as you what did you see?
First, I will note, I am terrified. Secondly, however, despite my fear, I can note the following. There is a slug of a rather unpleasant nature who appears to be gorging on things down there and is getting bigger as we speak with continued contact with the potion. So it is going to go from an unsightly thing to a rather large unsightly thing, which I take it most people don't really like it when an unsightly thing grows to a much bigger unsightly thing. I know I don't. And then there was also a fly whose appearance, do you remember that time someone got into your somewhat older barrels of cider? I don't quite recall who it was.
Oh, it was Azalea.
Oh, do you remember how
I remember that.
Do you remember how kind of like she, I don't know where she doesn't actually have glasses, but she like does the little gesture of like, in my astute opinion, she was the fly appeared to be a bit loosey goosey in terms of its overall composure.
Tabitha just like looks sidelong at the wine mum mouse that we have with us and it's just like, oh yes, I am familiar with that particular temperament. Yes.
As he was staring off into space like by the way, thank you very much for the raid, Horde of Tales. We're playing some Mausritter. Hello. But yeah, so and presumably you sort of relay also what you saw about the layout of the room and things as well.
Now this might be Elchie rubbing off on me, but it does occur to me that we need some kind of vessel to traverse the potion covered floor in order to reach the herbs. and there is a slug which is getting bigger and bigger, which may or may not become a mouse-sized vessel that can move very fast through the potion without being hurt. So what I'm considering is, what if we use the thread to sort of climb down and like jump on the back of the slug?
Alchie's just like, our steed, we will be mighty mice warriors.
Just can't get over mouse-sized vessel. Okay.
Everything's turning
possible-
up, Alchie.
Because you know what, I've still got these woodlouse treats, and I don't know, but there's a possibility that we could use it as a sort of like saddlebag, like, you know, like a little like treats to put in front of it, so we could sort of like, you know, we could be like, oh, we'll give you some treats if you'll take us over to where the herbs have been knocked over, so we can investigate that herb cabinet near the potion.
Does slug look faster than usual? You mentioned it was like kind of like going over to the potion and back and forth. Like
The slug.
like... Yeah,
faster.
Yeah.
It's not like super fast. No, it's sort of still normal speed. It just looks like it's kind of bigger than you'd expect a slug to be. And moving with purpose, if not speed.
Apple is like, I mean, Elchie, if you want to ride on that slug, or Tabitha, you can. And I think is looking at Elchie, who already had like, didn't you already have like sticky, stinky stuff all over you?
Yeah, I don't
before?
know if we
You washed that off.
Yeah,
we could wash it up.
yeah.
Okay.
But it's just kind of like, maybe Elchie doesn't really care about that kind of thing. But I don't think Apple likes that feeling of like having stickiness, and so is like, yeah. I mean, I'll forfeit my seat on the slug. But anyone else is welcome to, if they'd like.
I'm gonna get out one of the woodlouse treats and stick it on the end of Elchie's sword.
That's a good idea. Alchie's just like, yes.
Okay. So just to remember our position. So you're still all currently on the fairy light, sort of here. The slug is kind of like scooching around over here. But you could probably chimp it over with the treat if you wanted to, if you went down a little bit and got its attention.
Is whatever is next to, oh, sorry.
Just minor concern. How exactly are we riding the slug? Are we just going to be directly on top of the slug? Because if the slug has been feeding on the potion, and aren't we trying to avoid touching the potion at all costs? So wouldn't us riding right on top of the slug just put us in direct contact with the thing we've been trying to avoid?
Well, no, because if it's getting bigger, then there should be a space between the top of its body and the bottom, which is the point. Because the slug is immune to the potion, there's no way we can otherwise traverse the floor covered in potion. Whereas, we'll still be close to it, certainly, but I can't think of any other way that we can get easily across the potion covered floor.
If it's getting bigger due to the potion, isn't that not count as immunity?
Well, not immunity, but it's certainly not being hurt by it. Like, I guess is my point. And the bigger it gets, the further away we'll be from the potion.
I don't know if rapidly increasing one's body mass and size counts as not being hurt by the potion. Just like, this is very much this is both a sync up for Susie and Angela the player,
Yes.
like confused by how to take this line of thought. I'm like, I don't know. I don't think that follows, and there's short circuiting happening for both of our heads.
From my perspective, the slug doesn't seem to be in pain, and the bigger it gets, the safer we are if we ride on its back. So if it's continuously getting bigger, then it's our best bet of getting across the floor. I don't know if getting bigger is bad for the slug necessarily, but stopping the effect will presumably be a good thing. And the only way we can stop the effect is if we learn more about the potion, which we can only do if we get to the herb cabinet, which we can only do if we find a way across the potion covered floor, which we can only do if we find a way to not touch the potion. So I think that the slug might be our best bet. That said, very happy to take other ideas, because what I will say is that, like, I don't know how long the enlarging works for, and if it suddenly gets back to normal slug size, then we're the same size as a slug and we will just get dumped in the potion.